Hey Aquarius, Amber here. Welcome to the Symbols for Living YouTube channel. This is your June 2017 How Does He/She Feel About Me for the month of June. First of all, I'd like to say I'm sorry for the May videos not coming out. Unfortunately, Mercury retrograde decided to annihilate my whole techno ability. So yeah, I wasn't able to do them, but I'm back. So hope you enjoy the reading. So at the centre of the reading we've got the Strength card and the King of Swords, clarified by Spirit by the Four of Wands, which is really, you know, we should end the whole reading here really. It's pretty good. The King of Swords is seen as the most strongest card in the whole of the deck, because all, you know, in the spiritual community it's often said that the all is mental. Everything starts from a place of thought. So to have power over the mind as a king, you have power similar to the creator. So your partner sees you as very powerful, especially with your words, especially with the way that you think. Now, you've been an Aquarius, you're an air sign, so you know, more power to you. Your partner sees you as incredibly strong and reliable and powerful individual. They see you as someone who's mastered, like you've got great self-control and you're very sturdy and not easily swayed at all, and they're very sexually attracted to you. Yeah, they really do have strong feelings for you at the moment, most definitely, and they see you as very powerful. They could also see you as someone who maybe is a bit too self-controlled. They could see that as well, because the Strength card with the King of Swords just talk a lot about control. And then we've got like a 4 here to further kind of emphasize that sense of restriction and limitation. So although it's a very positive vibe overall in terms of how they feel about you, they may feel that maybe you are a bit too closed off, you maybe aren't that carefree. You're quite serious, everything's planned, everything's measured, you know. So they may, that's the only negative I can see here in terms of how they see you, but otherwise it's very positive. I don't think it's a deal breaker or anything like that, but with these 2 cards being here, it's definitely that's the side of your personality that they see the most, is this sense of strength and reliance on the mind and thought and logic, rather than maybe passion, instinct and creativity. You know, not to say the King of Swords can't be creative. I know many creative Aquariuses, like, absolutely. But in terms of being inspired by a passion that you can't explain, or not being able to put words on something, isn't really Aquarius's thing. They need to be able to explain it. So, you know, maybe a more fire sign might be, because it could be a fire sign here with the fire turning up in 3 parts of the reading here. They may be more inclined to act off a knee-jerk kind of inspiration and be excited by that, even though there may not be any logic behind it. So they could maybe see you two as like strong, both very strong and maybe controlled individuals, but in different ways. Because I kind of see this as 2 individuals as well, kind of coming together here with the 2 rods. So I think they think that you're a really good match, and that there's a lot of potential. Spirit is advising to go ahead and it's saying that you may have met someone who's part of your, you know, soul tribe. This talks about family as well. See, there could be a real feeling of coming home. It could be that you guys got back together as well, because we've got in the near past here the Nine of Swords with the Five of Cups and the Ace of Cups. It's like some sort of loss and stress was incurred by your partner. They were quite overwhelmed with emotion, you know, absolutely overwhelmed, and very much hurt by whatever happened in the past. Maybe some sort of regret, you know, some sort of wrong turn that was taken. You know, but definitely some sort of disappointment occurred, to the point where your partner felt, you know, it kept them up at night, they couldn't sleep, they felt very bound, and they may have felt very guilty about something. So I'm not too sure if they've done something in the past that made them feel very guilty and regretful, and if they did, they are very much, you know, they felt the burn of that, most definitely. And they went through, you know, their grieving process, and lots of sleepless nights, to the point where it actually opened up their heart with the Ace of Cups. It actually brought them to a point of being able to maybe love more. And it's interesting, when we do have our heart broken, when we do finally come round to that healing phase and we do actually get to that point where we forgive that person, it actually allows us to love a bit more. You then learn to love someone with all their faults, even if it's at a distance. You know, you learn to be more accepting of everyone's differences. So essentially your heart, or your capacity to love, expands almost with every heartbreak, as crazy as that sounds. Especially if you're able to move through it and heal from it and grow from it. It actually makes your heart bigger. And that could be what's happened here, is that this person is very regretful, but actually it's made them a lot more compassionate maybe towards you, compassionate towards themselves, and it's basically opened up their heart a lot more. They may have been quite cold before, you know, or quite emotionally unavailable maybe. To have the Ace of Cups suddenly appear, you would assume that they were emotionally unavailable before. Yeah, I mean, this disappointment basically has made them realise how much they are actually in love, I think, or how much they do care. And ultimately as well, they have, this card also represents healing. Also got another healing card here. So, and even the Chariot is Cancer, which is all about nurturing, you know, bringing someone back to health and that kind of thing. So I do feel like there has been healing for your partner, and they're now ready to offer their cup, whereas maybe previously they completely maybe had given up on love, felt quite down about the outcome of a previous situation. They may now be at a place where they're at a starting point again. They've got over the grieving, they're at a starting point now to maybe open up their heart again. Okay, so in the near future, we've got the Page of Cups and Seven of Swords and the Six of Wands. So again, overall, good news is the Six of Wands showed up, spiritual advice with Seven of Swords. So we can say that overall it's maybe a successful outcome towards the end of the month in terms of how they feel about you. Again, we've got the Page of Cups, which very much mirrors the Ace of Cups. It's this new beginning in love, opening up your heart. But the Page of Cups does it very tentatively. She may not, or he may not even really come forward as such. They may just start communicating with you, maybe lightly flirt with you, maybe hang out, you know. It's all very light. It's not, it's all very slow moving, and it's also quite distrustful energy. So, and this also talks about distrust. So it could be that your partner is really carefully maybe coming back around to being with you if you have broken up in the past. They're slowly kind of coming around to the idea, and they're very, very cautious, they're very suspicious, they don't trust the situation, maybe because they've had their heart broken in the past. But even though they have their doubts, and even though they can't help but have their suspicions and still act in a kind of suspicious, kind of almost paranoid way, they still are willing to take this step. They still are willing to take a chance and to open up their heart. So they're still moving in a positive direction, albeit it may come across as a bit shady or a bit secretive, but really they're just trying to protect their heart because they do not want to have to experience these dark cards again, sleepless nights and regrets. The Chariot card also reinforces this, that they are moving forward, even though they have difficulties. They have two opposites that, you know, this challenge to address, to kind of keep this inner balance maybe within them. Either way, they're faced with challenges and they're still moving forward. And then we've also got the Four of Coins again, which talks about being closed off, not really wanting to open up, not feeling secure enough, not feeling like you have enough to give as well sometimes. Feeling like you only have enough for yourself and you haven't got enough to share. But ultimately I think in this reading it's really just saying that this person's not opening up right now because they're still, you know, they're still experiencing some of the stress symptoms, I guess, or the memories of this previous disappointment. But again, we've got the Nine of Wands, determination. So this person's determined regardless to keep things moving, and the Lover's card is here as well. They recognise this is something special. And we've got the Six of Coins and the Five of Swords. So yeah, we might need to be careful. Sorry, the Six of Coins just talks about, again, reciprocity, balancing things out. But with the Five of Swords there, it would suggest that there might be a slight warning again to be careful in the back and forth communication between you two. Remember, you are an Aquarius, you are particularly good at talking and being logical and being objective, and this person may not be as good as that, or at that. So, you know, they may talk a good game, you know, but you still need to remember this person, if they are coming at you in a defensive way, or they are being, you feel they're attacking you, yeah, of course, you know, you have to defend yourself, but at the same time recognize that it's probably coming from a place of insecurity. And if you did want this relationship to go forward and you do think there's something special here to be seen, then it would be in your best interest to avoid being too objective in arguments, and to remember that this person's feelings is all up in there. You know, even though yours, like, you're so cool, objective, able to make these kind of like really cutthroat comments or straight to the point comments, and this person might take it harder, I think. So you may need to be a bit careful there, I think. But this person is determined to move forward regardless of the obstacles that they're facing. And they are thinking here, the Ten of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. So they themselves know that they need to, or they think that they've got a lot to do to maybe get this thing to work again. They feel like the responsibility is on them to make things move forward. And but they recognise that really their responsibility is to learn to work with you. You know, that is their responsibility, is to pull their own weight. Maybe in the past they weren't pulling their own weight in the relationship, and now they're like, because this talks about pulling your own weight, and this talks about literally pulling twice your weight. You know, but this talks about cooperation, so it's like pulling weight in order to cooperate. Maybe finally realising that they've got more responsibility in the situation, or they've got more making up to do. It could be that this is their own regret they're dealing with, something that they've done. And with the Page of Rods here, yeah, this talks about trying to leave negativity behind and doing something new. So that's probably what's happening here. You know, the Page of Rods, your partner or the person you're interested in is trying to start afresh, trying to try out new things, trying different approaches, quite curious now to find out what he could have been missing out on. You know, it's that kind of and also willing to learn new things, really willing to learn new things and do things differently, whilst at the same time really leaving the past in the past. We've got the Page of Rods facing the future as well, you know, and then we've got the, you know, this tentative energy facing the past. So they're tentative because of past issues, however they're looking forward and wanting to move forward with the Chariot here. And they appreciate that they need to learn new things, they need to maybe come to you with a different approach, and especially that would be pulling their weight, doing more in the relationship and recognising the part that they're playing in order to make the relationship work. Okay, and then their intentions here, we've got the Four of Cups and the King of Rods. So their intentions, interestingly enough, is like, it's either not to make a move, not to accept an offer, or deciding to be very content with where you are, like just not wanting to move. Coupled with the King of Rods, it could be that, you know, if you guys have had this argument, you know, that has caused them sleepless nights, which has maybe caused you to be really strong, because this is representing you and how they see you. So they could be seeing you very clearly. They could be seeing you as someone being very strong on their own, not easily swayed by emotion. You know, the Strength card is someone who's got a total control over their emotions, very similar to the King of Swords, but at the same time allows for inspiration. You know, she's gently taming, she's not doing it in a cutthroat. You know, her sword is away, she's using her hands. It's very a gentle kind of restriction, or a gentle kind of control. So I think that you have had to maybe learn how to possibly deal with this person, or you've had to learn how to, you know, keep your mouth, you know, bite your tongue, things like that, to enable the relationship to come together. So you've both had to show some restraint, I think, to keep the relationship going. And yeah, I think with this restraint, you could, you know, he could be offering you, you know, if you even got the, I don't know, I mean, he could be offering you a new beginning, wanting to take the lead, now wanting to come back and be the man in your life, but recognizing that actually it doesn't go, it doesn't, you can't just waltz back into someone's life and it just, everything be okay. You know, he's coming in and meeting the Four of Cups, or she's coming in and meeting the Four of Cups, and you're basically saying, you know, I don't think I'm ready, or you want more time. You know, this isn't as easy for me as it maybe is for this person to just get up and brush herself off, being a fire sign, and just get on with things. They're having to deal with the fact that you may still not be ready to embark on this new thing. And it could also be them. It could also be them. They could be very much wanting to, you know, start this new thing with you and take the relationship further, but again, at a very slow pace. It's almost like they could be rejecting the cup of love simply because they're not ready yet. They're just not ready to open up in that way. But the King of Rods says that that doesn't mean they've given up. In actual fact, this is a planned strategy. Their whole aim, it looks like, you know, is to find that balance, is to maybe, you know, to come back together with this Four of Rods, is to cooperate and pull their weight. But they may recognize that, you know, it takes time, and yeah, it takes time, and they're gonna have to be patient. They're gonna have to be patient. But as I was saying, it could be like a strategy for them. You know, especially with the Seven of Swords here, it talks a lot about strategy. We've got the King of Swords at center. It could be a strategy, and the King of Rods is someone who leads the way with things. He doesn't wait for anyone else to do anything. So he could be like this could be his whole plan, is to just be patient with you and to act when you act and respond as you respond, and kind of play it by ear and take his time. As much as he wants to just rush in and have everything as it was, he may realize that actually, you know, with the Temperance card there, that it's all about a measured approach, you know, doing the right thing at the right time. And interestingly enough, the Chariot card also talks about that, you know, having to work around obstacles but keep it moving forward, having to be flexible. So that kind of energy is going on for your partner this month, where they're having to be flexible and maybe work around you in some way, or work around the obstacles in the relationship, but they're still moving forward, albeit tentatively, slightly reserved, a bit dubious, a bit doubtful about their heart being broken. Ultimately, you're winning, because the advice here for you is, you know, the 6 of Wands, like, this is a success for you. You know, and there is success possibly for both of you, you know. And I think the success here for you is that you are getting that recognition, I think, that maybe you didn't get before. You know, they're recognizing here that they need to pull their weight. They could also be thinking, I mean, if you look at this in a completely different way, it could be that they're feeling overburdened by the relationship. You know, this could be they're truly heartbroken in the past and they made a brand new fresh start. Maybe you two are separate but still remaining friends, possibly. And they may just feel very burdened by the relationship, and they might want just a brand new start. They want to start, they know that they need to do something new. They can't keep doing things the way they've been doing it because it's just too hard. They need to try something new, for one, and two, they need to work with others. You know, your partner can feel this way about you, like they want you to kind of work with them, work in a combined, as you know, in a combined effort to keep things going, rather than it being not one-sided, but yeah, so maybe they just feel like they're not having to do all the work in some way. But that's just another alternative kind of interpretation. I would actually stick with my first interpretation as what the cards are trying to say, but as it's so many people watching, the potential to interpret this differently really, you know, that could be, I can interpret it in so many different ways. So I think I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to, I would say that, yeah, if you're going to meet someone this month, that's someone that's brand new, it will likely be like a Leo or a fire sign. I really do think it'll be a fire sign, Aquarius. And you may not be completely interested in them. They could be a Sagittarius as well. And yeah, you might be like, they're not my type, you know. But I think it's a case of giving it time and doing some more research into this person. Yeah, this person may come across as a bit suspect, or like you're not too sure. Maybe very, you know, King of Swords energy. But this is because of past hurts that they've had and disappointments. So they may have been through some like major heartbreak or major loss in their life. So I'm going to take that card. Okay, your challenge is past life. What brings you together is gifts. What you're thinking of is money this month. What they're thinking of is a blonde female. You see them as the beauty queen. And you see them as family. At the bottom of the deck we've got the fair male. So the overall energy between the relationship is fair male. So the fair male card to me represents someone who is actively allowing things, as in, you know, they're receptive but in a masculine way, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is someone who's quite impressionable basically as well. So it could be that this person that's in your life is kind of impressionable, maybe, you know, been hurt before. The fair male is sensitive, you know, and maybe you're like the King of Swords, which is great, you know, the most powerful card in the deck. However, the fair male may be more of a type to, you know, likes their own way, absolutely, likes to know that they've had some sort of input into the outcome of things, but at the same time they are quite impressionable. They can be a little bit sensitive. So yeah, there may be some balance that's needed there. Or there may be, you know, there may be something that you could do to kind of meet them halfway in that respect, and just recognise that there is a certain amount of compassion. Remember, we did see the Strength card. There's two ways to kind of control our emotions, and there is the King of Swords way, where we just become completely logical, and everything is logical, you know, everything. Or we could also choose the Strength card way, which just talks about gently, you know, you honouring your wild side and your wild nature, and your maybe illogical nature, honouring it but keeping it in check, you know, honouring it but knowing where the boundaries lie. So yeah. Okay, so spiritual advice is the young female. So Spirit is saying, I think for you guys, is that the young female, she's usually quite, you know, out there, confident, not really the impressionable type, more likely to be quite determined. So this could be representing you, this could be representing your partner, or just the energy of the relationship. So it would say that you guys may need to be more flirtatious, be more confident in yourself. So confidence may be a big issue for this month, especially with the Chariot card. It does talk about confidence. So you may need to have that. As you see in this picture, the young female's got a lot of confidence. And just being like confident in your own skin, again, it kind of represents the Strength card, you know, embracing your wild side. She's embracing her wild side, as we can see, you know, she's got red hair, she's shoulders back, arms open, mini skirt on, like she's embracing her sexuality most definitely, and that's not, it's absolutely to be, you know, nothing wrong with that. And that's what Spirit is saying, that there's nothing wrong with being confident, you know, nothing wrong with embracing all that you are. And that could be some advice there for you guys. And maybe if you wanted to kind of get back with this person, if there are obstacles, it could be that Spirit's advice here is that you maybe need to kind of let your guard down a little bit, be a bit more open, be a bit more sensual. It could help. The challenge in your relationship is past life. So it could be the past, you know, past lives, all this negativity, all this sadness and broken hearts. It's actually the challenge for you guys right now. And that's why we've got the Chariot card here and other cards that are saying to, you know, to move forward and start afresh and leave the past in the past. But that's going to be hard to do here, because we do see your partner here feeling as if he's still kind of carrying that kind of mentality of distrust. So you're learning about money this month, and that was just, you're learning about the value of money. You could be recognizing that money isn't as important maybe as relationships. Okay, I think this is gonna cut out any second. It's gonna be really quick. So yeah, you're more focused on money. They're more focused on the blonde females. This could be you. They could be more focused on you. The blonde female again does talk about confidence, again being passionate, but not so much in a sensual way, but more passionate about your own endeavours. So your partner could be more passionate, or be learning to be more passionate, learning to embrace this energy a bit more, maybe still in a slightly more subdued way than the young female, but still embracing it nonetheless. The challenges here are gifts. This is about appreciating each other's gifts and what you both bring to the table, and how that can actually positively affect the relationship rather than pull you guys apart because your differences. Actually see them as gifts that can bring you together, because they are what brings you together here. You are complementary. You see your partner as a beauty queen, obviously very beautiful, very alluring, and obviously getting a lot of attention from other people as well. And your partner sees you as maybe being very, very family orientated, and maybe you are as well because the money card is here. So you could be very focused on money because of your family, and that's what you're learning about this month. I'd just like to introduce to you before you go, I do have my postcards here ready to be purchased. The Aquarius card. On the back we've got your correspondences and a short description of the sign. I'm not going to read it because I'm about to run out of time. I also do mugs with the same symbol on. And lastly, I have got here the Aquarius poster, which I do love. This is one of my favourites actually, Aquarius. So I'm actually working with artists. So if you're an artist yourself, I've got some ideas that I want to develop. So yeah, get in touch. But if you'd like to purchase anything, again, please do get in touch. If you'd like a reading, get in touch again. I can be reached at symbolsforliving@gmail.com. I thought it just went out. Okay, take very good care and I'll see you in July. Alright, bye.